It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to Feel Good Breakfast Show. Expresso here in S3, and from today to the 9th of May, we will be observing Deaf Awareness Week. Now, the purpose of this week is to educate the public on deafness, hearing loss, deaf culture, and sign language as organizations have various events. Now, this morning, ear, nose, and throat specialist Dr. Shabeer Ebrahim joins us in the studio to talk us through the topic of hearing loss. Welcome.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for having me.
Dr. Shabeer, so good to have you. Well, if you have any questions and comments to add onto today's show, we invite you to get in touch with us, 021-110-555-2, as we embark on this very, very important conversation that's going on. And I'm so happy, Dr. Shabeer, that we're dedicating a period during this month to really just shine the spotlight on this conversation, right? Because it's very little understood.
Yeah.
What causes hearing loss? Let's start there.
Okay, so it's important basically to firstly understand the mechanism of hearing.
Yeah.
Indeed.
The sound comes through, goes through the ear canal, hits the eardrum, moves the little bones through the inner ear, through the nerve to the brain. So if we get that little pathway on...
Journey.
It's a journey, yes.
Yeah.
So anywhere along that pathway, something could happen. So as simple as a little bit of wax in your ear canal
Yeah.
can affect your hearing. And then we move on to the eardrum. There could be something wrong with the eardrum, a hole. There could be fluid in the ear. So all of this that affects the conduction of sound is generally called a conductive hearing loss. And then you could have problems with the inner ear, the cochlea, the hair cells, particularly people who are exposed to loud noises, etc. That's of interest to them. And diseases that can affect the inner ear. And then there are diseases that can affect the nerve and the brain as well. So the causes are multiple, and it's important to identify where along the chain the problem lies.
Wow, yes.
So how common is hearing loss? Because, I mean, you don't find it in sort of the industry. I know that we are always subject to wearing earpieces, but no one's really speaking about it. So how common is it?
So no one's really speaking about it, but in South Africa, I've looked at the research.
Okay.
They estimated there are about 10 million people
Wow.
who have hearing or hearing problems. And of that 10 million people, basically only 2% actually seek help. And usually the older people. And of that 2%, maybe 7% actually get something done about it.
It's a stigma, isn't it a stigma?
It
You know,
really
it's kind of like
definitely
only...
does sound like it.
Yeah.
Because you think only old
Exactly.
people will suffer hearing loss.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, there are many ways to be able to identify or to be able to pick up if someone is experiencing hearing loss. And I think sometimes we can be able to pick that up ourselves. For example, if you're constantly having to hear, to say sorry or say that again to someone when they say something, that is probably one of them. But what are the other ways of detecting hearing loss?
Again, basically, we need to look at the ages.
Okay.
Okay, so if we look at the very young, obviously, as a baby, the parents may detect that he's not responding to a loud noise, or as you get older, the language development is delayed. Those are the warning signs. Maybe the kid should have his hearing tested. So I'm just going very briefly through. And as you get language development is affected. It can affect the interaction with peers. They become isolated, withdrawn. It can affect your self-esteem. And this can apply to all age groups. So as you get older, as an older person, you're unable to follow conversation, so you tend to get withdrawn, you tend to get depressed, especially if the TV's on, you can't follow a conversation. You're slightly embarrassed to talk about it, and no one has actually spoken about it, so you haven't sought help. And eventually we see it with older people, they just get withdrawn and they get into their own world.
So I think the big question is if you can give us some fast tips on the prevention of hearing loss, because I think everybody needs to hear this because it can affect anybody.
Okay, so firstly, if you're worried about your hearing or someone's hearing, have it tested. Have it tested. You need a baseline to see if there's a problem. And there's qualified audiologists out there, ENTs, who will be able to help you with that.
Yeah.
What's important, especially people in your industry as well, is we can't emphasize the the importance of reducing your exposure to loud noises.
Yeah.
Okay. In today, where every kid, every person has got an earphone in the ear, what exactly is loud? Well, it's subjective.
Yeah.
You know, you need it tested. If you have a problem with your ear, seek help. That's the bottom line.
And there are small things that we can do on a daily basis to try and manage that. I mean, the number of times I have sat next to someone and I can hear the music coming out of their headset, from 3 people away. You can hear it, then you know there's certainly a problem, or you are going to cause a problem. Please do stay tuned to your Feel Good Breakfast show this morning. Ear, nose and throat specialist, our guest this morning, Dr. Shabeer Ebrahim, is answering more questions on hearing loss and deafness after this. 021 110 552.
It's my feel good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beautiful people. It is your Feel Good Breakfast show, Expresso. We're live here on S3. It's a Tuesday morning and we're talking health. Continuing with our health discussion this morning, ear, nose and throat specialist, I'm talking about Dr. Shabeer Ebrahim, is still with us and will be telling us which treatment options are available for hearing loss and also explaining what exactly tinnitus or tinnitus. Tinnitus. We'll find out exactly how to pronounce it, what it is. If you've never heard of it, like I have never heard of it, we'll get to know now. Doctor, thanks for staying with us.
Thanks.
What is the word?
Tinnitus.
Tinnitus, that's it.
Tinnitus is a sound that one hears in the ear, and it's subjective, and it's not originating from external. So there can be a number of various, people often describe it as a buzzing sound.
Yes.
But it's very important to see that you could get a humming sound, you could get a pulsing sound.
Okay.
And without going into too many details, tinnitus needs to be investigated. We generally divide it up into pulsatile and non-pulsatile. Pulsatile is generally, I regard as a more dangerous type. So the main thing is identifying the cause. But number one of the main causes of tinnitus is actually medication. And aspirin seems to be one of the main things that can cause a tinnitus.
Wow.
And tinnitus can be associated with a hearing loss as well.
Something to think about.
It is indeed. And when it comes to some of the options around treating hearing loss, what do those look like for anybody who seems to be suffering at the moment?
Absolutely. So firstly, identifying the cause. Generally, the conductive causes, the causes that affect the mechanism of sound to the ear, they generally can be overcome. You remove the wax, you can fix up an eardrum, remove fluid from the ear, etc. When we come to the nerve, generally, the hair cells, the nerve, the hearing loss can be more of a permanent hearing loss. But it's a point that I'd like to highlight. It's very important to identify the hearing loss. And if you need a hearing aid, you get a hearing aid. Because the hearing aid doesn't only help improve the hearing, but believe it or not, it helps the degeneration of hearing.
Oh,
okay.
So it's not just at the end of the spectrum, it could be
it helps
along the way.
Degeneration, because if you do not have the hearing aid, then you do not have the sound input to the brain, and basically the hearing aid prevents the further degeneration. And also in older people, if you get degeneration, it affects your cognitive ability as well.
Yes.
So the hearing aid is very important, not only in improving the hearing, but also to prevent further hearing deterioration.
Doctor, it sounds like there's a broad spectrum of sort of hearing challenges that you could be dealing with here. Are there varying degrees, just as what I'm picking up, it sounds like there are, of hearing loss, where you are on the onset of hearing loss, and then maybe you're in the middle along the way, and now you completely have lost your hearing?
Of course, scientifically, we divide it up. We can divide it up into mild, moderate, severe. But I look at it differently. I see, how is the hearing loss affecting you? Okay, I can tell you your hearing loss is mild, but for you, it's not a mild problem, and you should maybe seek help. You should maybe, if your hearing is a moderate, I'm not just looking at the figures, I'm telling you how does it affect your life, and what are we going to do to improve your hearing so that your quality of life and your interaction is better with people. So it's very important not to look at the figures, but to look at the person.
Each individual.
So, Doctor, there's a big contentious issue. And I think when it comes to personal hygiene, we all have it all figured out. However, removing earwax from one's ear is hugely contentious because a lot of us are doing it incorrectly. Please shed some light.
It was coming.
I know, it had to come through.
Yeah,
It had to.
It's a common one, right?
So ENTs often say the only thing that you could put in your ear is your elbow. Okay. So
in other words, don't put anything in.
people often think that earwax is a dirty thing, but earwax is actually a good thing, and people are obsessed with earwax, the color, etc.
Yeah.
So I always say God has designed the ear perfectly. He doesn't need your help. You can sometimes soften the wax and wipe out the outside, but you shouldn't be putting anything into your ear because all you do is force it onto the eardrum, and sooner or later it's going to block up your ear or cause problems. So stay away from your ear and you'll stay away from me.
Okay.
Wow.
Here we go.
Okay, well,
Yes,
next time I try this, don't worry, it's not coming for your ear. Dr. Shabeer Ebrahim, thank you very much. You've shared such incredible knowledge this morning, and I think you've really just sparked something in everyone. We're all going to be taking our hearing a lot more seriously, hopefully, and as we commemorate this week of, obviously, awareness, we're able to go out there, examine our own hearing, but also look at what we can do if we have any challenges. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much.
Do stay tuned as we're joined by Michael Denton Swartz, who shares his remarkable story. It's a story you are going to want to hear. We'll see you just now.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to it, your feel-good breakfast show. It is Expresso here on S3. We're live. It's a Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us.
So, I must just tell you that in 2018, we met up with a gifted swimmer, horse rider, and animal lover, Michael Denton Swartz, who shared his inspiring story of hearing for the very, very first time. It was absolutely beautiful. And I mean, you fast forward to this year, 2021, and Michael is a successful sports massage therapist and engaged to the love of his life, Jordan Clark. Now, this morning, we catch up with Michael and his fiancée, Jordan, and his mother, as well as sister Sandy and Cindy. Welcome, everybody, to the show.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, should I say, is it welcome?
Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Like this?
Welcome.
Welcome. There we go.
To the show. Well, let's start with you, Mum, Sandy. I mean, take us back to when you first realized that Michael couldn't hear. What was that experience like for you, and what did you have to go through as a family in that way?
It was very difficult for me to accept initially, and I think I was in denial, and we did everything possible to open every door for him to get his hearing. People said to me, accept him as he is. I said, yes, I do accept him as he is, but I would like him to be able to hear things that hearing people hear. Birds singing, your parents talking, and so forth. He had a cochlear implant when he was about 18 months old. It was not successful. He had another one when he was 18. That was also not successful. And later on, he saw Jenny Perald at Tygerberg Hospital, and with new technology, etc., she was able to get his cochlear implant working. So on the 30th of January in 2018, I'd been with him all of his life through everything, and at that big moment I wasn't there. He was there with Jordan, and the first thing he heard was Jordan laughing.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Wow.
Someone's cutting onions.
I love it. Yeah, I know you can see that.
Oh, my word.
I love it.
That's a beautiful story. I mean, Cindy, from your side, I mean, you were there from the start, and you assisted with regard to immediately when you realized that there was hearing impairment, you had to step in and you had to learn sign language on the fly. How was that for you?
You know, I was quite young, so I think I was actually I felt privileged to be able to help him. I felt, you know, when someone that you love or anyone is in pain or struggling with something, you want to be able to help, but you don't know how.
Yeah.
So I felt that I had my opportunity, and I was there at the beginning, all the beginnings. When Michael was born, I got up early that morning, and I went and stayed at the hospital for like 12 hours, the whole day. I was in standard 5 then, grade 7. And Michael was born, I was there. I was one of the first to hold him. And then I was there at the beginning of his school career. and then helped him in his massage career.
And you obviously have had to translate along the way, all of these years throughout his
Yes.
life journey in that way. It's such a
Yes.
fantastic companionship. I love that.
So, would you like to add, Mom?
Yes, I think Cindy is shortfalling herself a little bit. When Michael started schooling, there was no schools in East London that could cater for him and his special needs. And Cindy gave up going to varsity to become a psychologist. And while all her friends went off to study, she went to school and she did grade 1, grade 2 and grade 3 with Michael at Abbotswood Christian School in East London. She interpreted for him until life moved on and he went to St. Vincent's School and Merrifield and so on. But she was the one that got his schooling started. And at the end of the day, she's got the Beauty Wagon, which is a beauty school in East London, and she started training him in massage therapy so that he would have a future and be able to become independent.
Cindy, an
It
angel.
worked out
totally.
well.
I mean,
Worked
come
out
on,
well.
let's
Can we have a
hear
round of
it.
applause for that?
She was. Let us hear it for Cindy. Fantastic.
Wow. I'm taken aback. I really am on the story, but I think it's time for us to have a quick chat. So I just want to say welcome. You'll obviously please, because I mean we'd love to hear some sign language as well. But your experience making sure that you are able to, because I mean you were hearing impaired from when you were quite small. So having that support around you and people around you who helped you through, what does that mean to you?
So how do you feel because you were born deaf and everyone supports you in the family? So how do you feel that you get lots of support? How does it make you feel?
I was very good. I was able to have my firma support me for the big age of my life. So I got my first life. I'm able to put my life. I'm a poor stuff. I got my, I can't have myself.
So just to translate, he says
Yes.
he's very lucky to have a family like what we have here. And also he doesn't feel sorry for himself. He had to build up his life. And fortunately he had the support of a very loving family.
So my mom died. So she's my able to for myself.
His parents taught him how to be strong, that inner strength.
I came from my mother and father.
Very
They cried
grateful.
all the time.
Yeah, I can totally imagine that. But this is really such an inspiring story that
It
you've
is.
been able to come here and share with us. And I think that the root of it all is the support that one can get at a family level, and that really does build the person up to be self-sufficient in that way and go out in public and express themselves in the most beautiful way. And this is a fantastic, inspiring story. And human, thank you very much for that. And congratulations to Jordan and, of course, Michael on their engagement. We love
you.
that. We love that we can
Congrats.
celebrate this
Thank
with
you.
Go out there and learn all about hearing disabilities,
Sign
because this
language
is
also.
something we need to talk about.
Thank you.